We are going to be talking about being able to understand the real cost of you not understanding your worth. This is a very important topic because we will be talking about pay and things of that sort, but we'll also, I really want to dive into you guys on what it means to not be paid well. And when we're talking about pay, we're not just talking about pay, right? We are talking about all the ways that you can not be paid well, but just not in the terms of funds. And if it's something that you know that you are not as clear on as you should be, there's nothing to be ashamed about that, right? It's more important for you to be aware that you don't understand your value rather than you think you do and you really don't. And I tend to find this in a lot of the clients that I work with, right? The majority of the clients that I work with, they are at manager role and up, right? And so they are ones that are very seasoned in their jobs, right? But also, I tend to notice that the people with more experience, they are the ones that will tend to struggle the most when it comes to them being able to fully understand the value that they have. And most people do not understand what it costs them to not earn what they should be being paid, right? And again, this morning, I really want to talk not just about your pay, but I want to talk about other areas in your career where you could be not being paid as you should, right? So I do want to say this. Please look around. Now, this part is about pay, right? But I want you guys to look around and understand you cannot afford literally to not be being paid what you should be being paid. So it is of a utmost that you understand what your skills are worth in the current job market that we are in. This is nothing to play with. The price of everything has gone up. Everything is expensive, right? And so we are now in a place that when you even look at, this is even for you all that think you are being paid just fine. This is for you guys that feel like, hey, I think I'm being paid okay. You can still feel like you are being paid okay and still be severely underpaid. So don't let this comfortable paycheck make you feel like I'm good. Because what you don't understand is not only are things expensive, they will get more expensive. And you want to put yourself into a place to where you're not having to live check to check, right? Or even if you are in a good space right now, you have to know that as this society that we are in, it's growing. So your pay needs to grow with that. And as your successes grows and your receipts and your results grows, your pay needs to also grow because there's a lot of mental damage, I'll say that, right? That takes place when you are operating and you are not being paid the way that you should be being paid. And I think that people don't understand that the actual impact that happens when you understand that you should be being paid a certain amount and you're not. It can take a hit to your confidence. And this is why a lot of the clients that I work with, right, they are very established, right? They have these really great job titles. And some people get really comfortable because that job title sounds nice, but the pay does not match that job title. Or kind of like what I said before, you can find yourself saying, oh, my pay is okay. We are in a time where pay can't just be okay anymore. It has to be able to put you in a position to where you are able to build on it, and it can bring you into a place of where you are able to not only reach success, but sustain success. And that's why I said, I really wanted to talk about this topic this morning because it's not just about getting just enough anymore. Being able to understand what is the impact that is really happening in your life when you do not have a career that is going to provide the things that you need. A career that is able to grow with you as you grow, not just grow with you in your role, but being able to grow with you as the things in your life grow. Being able to find something that can sustain that. And guess what? Not feeling guilty about that. Not trying to be in a place to where if you want more, that you will allow that to bring a level of shame or guilt. Especially if you want that you already do well, right? You could start to feel a level of guilt because you see the people around you that is not doing it as well, right? And so you think, okay, I think that I may have high expectations. No, right? Because it's about not having a career that is going to sustains you in the moment, but a career that can continue to sustain you. And it's going to be up to you to be able to identify, yes, this career is okay right now, but what is the next 6 months going to look like, the next year? Because I think if anything in the last 3 years that we have learned is how fast life can change. And so this is not a live stream to force you to have greed, but it is a live stream, right? For you to understand that if you have high expectations, there's nothing wrong with that, especially if you have the skills, the expertise, and the accomplishments to back that up. There are some people that have over $100,000 in student loans, and you feel bad because you want to make more money. First of all, you invested $100,000 into your expertise. You invested 6 figures into your expertise. Why in the world would you not want to expect 6 figures and more back? That just makes it, when I think about investment, I'm thinking that if I put something in, I expect to get something more out of it, right? So when you got, $80,000 of student loans or even 50, 60, it don't have to be that much. If you got student loan debt, period, right? You have to realize that even if you are at a place where you are doing okay, you have to see that the money that you make is just going back to pay back those loans. So when you look back over the pay that you have, there isn't anything that really exceeds, meaning that your lifestyle has not been able to change because all you're doing at this point is just paying back the investment that you made. So where is the growth there? There is no growth. You find yourself stuck and you find yourself not being able to really get ahead in the way that you would desire to either save money or invest or these other kind of things, right? And I think blah, blah, blah. And I see this with my clients a lot of times because, again, they are doing fine in their jobs, but they like, this just can't be it. And it's not it, right? So if you do have a desire to grow in your role, in your skills, in your pay, in your time, which is something that we will talk about in a minute, okay? Being able to be paid well in your time, there's nothing, right? That should be the expectation. That once you decide that you will invest your time and your skills, right, into something that is going to give you back a return, there's nothing wrong with that. That's the way that you should be operating in your career. So if you do feel a little bit of guilt or shame for that because of things that is happening around you, I hope I have freed you from that and understand that you have the right to want to do well in your career. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay. And now I want to talk a little bit more about what is the cost of you being underpaid. Again, right in the beginning, I talked a little bit about how it takes a hit on your confidence. You start feeling like there's something wrong with you. And when you feel like there's something wrong with you, you'll automatically change, but you don't change it in the right way. You automatically will change and think that there's something more that I need to start doing. When in reality, you have done enough, meaning that you have put in the work. And so you train yourself to believe anytime that you don't see the results or the rewards as you think that you should be seeing, the thought does not enter into your mind like, hey, let me look back and sit back and see, right? Is this role that I have to pour so much into, is that the issue? But our minds will train us to believe that we are the issue. And so you will spend your whole career thinking that there's something wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. It's about you being able to identify what is the bottleneck and being able to understand, like, what is the gap here that is keeping me from the money that I want and the pay. Now, let's talk a little bit more about that pay. I'm not just talking about money. I'm talking about family time. I'm talking about you being able to be paid with your time, meaning that you are able to operate in your career where you have a good work-life balance. We say that word a lot, but people don't really understand what it means to really have a work-life balance. I don't really like the word balance. I just use that because that's just a term that everybody else use and knows, right? But when I think about having a work life, I'm thinking about you being able to know, what does your life look like? What are those things that are important in your life? What are those top concerns? What are the things that you know that I need to have time for these things? And then being able to decide if the career that you have now is going to support that, because it is not about you trying to have this great career and then you want to squeeze in your life in these little gaps that are left, right? And so now what you tend to have these moments of your life and you're not living life. Is a different thing when you're able to live life. It's another thing when you just have moments of your life. And there are some people that have built their careers, but they don't have a life. They experience their life in just moments. There is a time or there's little short amounts of when they do feel excited or when they do feel happy or fulfilled, right? Or it's short little spurts of time. They do have time for the folks in their life who they love, right? So they experience their life in moments. And that's not how we were supposed to live life. Now, when it comes to your career, you get to a point where it just has all of you. It has all of your mind. It has all of your time. It is at a point to where it can take all of your emotions to when you come home from work, you were like, I don't have time. I don't have the energy. I don't have the capacity to deal with the things. But the things that you really mean is just the folks in your life who you say that you love. It's not saying that you don't love these people. You do. But the thing that you have put in the core of your life draws you away from that. Talking about the real cost of you not understanding your value, you not understanding that you do have a right to live the life that you want to. You do have a right to have time for the things and the people that you love. And there's nothing wrong with that. But we have been taught to be in some kind of rat race and some kind of grind. And we've been taught that he who grinds the most is he who is most successful. And I really want us to move away from that. Because that is not success. Success is not you just being able to do things well and be paid well. It's about you being able to live well, right? But when you don't understand that you are worthy of that, you will never even pursue that. And so you tend to go in a cycle and in a spin of just grabbing pieces and you just grabbing quick time bursts of your life, and you're not really able to get clear on what it is that you want, and you're not able to really rest in the things that you want. And I really hate this whole grind of life because it has us trying to, it's like we're so focused on just checking stuff off, right? We're so focused on just hitting goals that we are losing ourselves, where it is no more about quiet times and times to think and times to just have a hobby that don't have to be a side hustle. Like everything don't have to be a side hustle. There are some things in life that you can just enjoy, but the grind of life has taught us that every single thing that we put our hands to, it has to either be about winning or it has to have some kind of gain. But the ironic thing is, right? The main thing that we should have that expectation of, which is your career, people are afraid to own that and stand in that, right? And so I want to be able this morning to even shift your mindset. And I want you to understand that when you are talking about being able to be paid well, let's not just look at funds. Let's look at all the areas in your career and in your life that you should be being paid well in, and not allow yourself to be put into a box and feel like you have to just keep trying to shrink to these overall expectations in society. This is one of the things that I teach my clients. I have a framework that I walk them through. Like, let's plan out your ideal life, because that is what is going to be the core of everything. It's what you want, right? It's about you being able, for one, because again, like I said, a lot of clients I work with, they are experienced. They have tons of skills and great things that they can do, but majority of them don't even like doing it. They have been in this mode of just robot mode for so long. They just tend to lean more into what seems like the right thing and not what is the thing that they really want, right? And that's why I talk about so much about moving away from the need of feeling like you have to prove yourself. Because if you have to keep trying to prove yourself, right? If you feel like you got something to prove with every choice that you make, or there's something to prove with every move that you desire to make, you will continually feel like you are stuck in this box, right? Meaning that you will start to feel like some little puppet. And the thing that is causing those strings, you know what I'm saying, like to move, is that need to feel like I got to prove something. But it's not about proving anything. It's about understanding I got one life to live, one life. And I don't even know how long this life will be. Understanding that there's nothing wrong with you wanting to make more money. Hey, like I said before, in the time that we in, you need to be. should be a requirement. You need to be, but being able to understand, not only do I deserve to make more money, I also deserve to have more time with the people and things that I love. I deserve to have time with myself. I deserve to feel good with the work that I do. I know that this goes against everything our parents taught us. And so if you don't agree with this, you can leave and there's no hard feelings, right? But I refuse to live under a rule that says that I just gotta get up every day, grind and die. I'm just not about to live that kind of life. Right. And so, but again, this is a belief system that I had to break out of my mind. I had to untrain myself to think another way. When you look at the results of your life, that is a direct reflection of what you believe. It is a reflection of how far you think that you can go. Now, of course, at any moment, you are able to change your mind and your belief, right? But what happens when it's weird? I meet people and I work with clients that they have literally built something. They have built a career, a life that they're not happy in, but they feel comfortable there. Because I have worked with clients who they are not happy, but they are comfortable. And you would almost think like, how in the world is this even? How can this even exist? It happens every day. Right? You see it in all areas of life. You have people that have spouses that they have not been happy with in years. They don't even sleep in the same room with each other. They can't stand each other. But I would rather do this than have to get to the point to where I have to go through a divorce and then I got to find. So all they're thinking about is what it could look like, right? Or the work that it may take to change things, but they don't think about the result if they make the change. So for them, they can literally not be happy, but they're comfortable. And so that comfort zone is like a root of just madness because it's two emotions that they are like fighting against each other. You know that you want more. You understand that you need more, but you're comfortable. And that is dangerous, not just in your career, but it's in your life. Remember what I said earlier, it's you really are training yourself to decide what it is that you are going to accept. We learn to love our cages. Now, if that ain't a word, you can find yourself in a mode to where you have been in an environment for so long that you can't even, like your mind can't even understand things that are good. When good opportunities come, you see those as a threat. When good opportunities come, you see it as there's something wrong because you can train yourself to believe that this is the only things or these are the only type of things that I can accept. Right? It happens in your career every day. It affects the way that you show up at work, which is why people will have very low expectations and they cannot identify that is a low expectation. Don't tell me that your top thing on your list is being paid what you should be being paid. Don't say that. Don't make things that should be mandatory. Don't make that a perk. You being paid the money that you should be being paid and you being able to operate in an environment where there is respect, that should be mandatory. That should not be a perk. Because if you keep on trying to treat things that are just, again, mandatory as perks, you will forever be happy with just the bare minimum. This is an example I use all the time. When you find yourself, I've heard wives all the time and they will like just boast up their husband so much. And they think the reason why their husband is so great is because he don't cheat on them. You not having an affair outside of our marriage, that ain't no perk. That's the bare minimum to stay married. You don't get a clap because you don't cheat on me. My expectations are just not set that low because that was a law. That was a rule. Like when we stood and we exchanged vows, that's something that should just automatically be known. I shouldn't have to sit down with you and say, okay, if you want to be my husband, you know you can't cheat, right? If we haven't even had that conversation, something is wrong. There's a gap there, right? If I even think that I have to have that conversation with you, that lets me know that the choice that I pick, something ain't right in your career. You got to think about it the same way. Where is the bar for your expectations? And so if you keep allowing them to throw these 2%, 3%, if that raise you every year, or not even being able to even receive a raise, if you keep letting that happen, when you know that you are already $30,000 below the mark, when you're already $40,000 below the mark. And the sad thing, when I say sad, like it really hurts my heart, that some people don't even realize how underpaid they are. How anytime they think about their next career move, I have clients that I work with and I ask them, what are the expectations that you have for this next move? How much money do you want to make in this next move? And it breaks my heart when they say, oh, $10,000, $15,000. And you go, Alicia, that's a lot. Mm-mm. Not when I am looking at your background, not when I'm looking at the impact that you made, not when I'm looking at how much things cost around you, not when I'm looking at after taxes is not an extra $10,000. It's really like six. And so when you tell me the impact and the results that you bring forth in your role, and you think about what's next for you, and you sell yourself short at $10,000, I know that there is something wrong there. There's something off there. That's you not being able to understand the value that you bring. It happened to me in my job. You guys know I was in HR for over 10 years, was able to bring them in $2 million worth of new business a year. And when I ask for a raise, you throw this little bitty chump change and then you have enough nerves to smile with it as if you're doing me a favor. No, it's time to go. No hard feelings. You just can't serve me at the level, and you can't serve me in the capacity that I know that I deserve to be served in. It's time to go, right? And so, but it's about you being able to understand, when is it time to go? You don't get what you deserve. You get what you asked for. It could be time for you just to have a conversation, not wanting to take the real passive side and say, oh, they'll see, or I will wait until performance times come. No. If you notice that you have been able to bring forth them results, now is the time to have that talk, right? Again, allowing yourself to be the driver in your career, being able to take back that steering wheel, and you decide how fast you grow. You decide how much you make. You decide what opportunities are out there. And if you're in a space that isn't in alignment with the timeline that you have, well, now you understand. No hard feelings, but this space can't serve me in the capacity that I know that I need to be served in. The other day, because again, a lot of the clients that I work with, they are already at manager and up. I said, look, I understand when you first start off, meaning that you're a fresh face, 21, no experience. So in the beginning, you may have to compromise and bend and kind of do things. I really don't want to do that, but right? Because you are in the process of getting your foot in the door. You're in the process of trying to gain experience. I get all that, but it comes to a point in your career where you have put in the work. You have the receipts. You have the successes, right? You have paved your path. You have paved all of your successes. You have found yourself having to be in roles where you didn't want to be, right? Meaning you put in the work, meaning you was at a point to where I did have to be in rooms with people that did not really feed my expertise the way that it should have been fed. You did that. You had your seasons of having to be quiet and just, let me just get through this. But enough of that. You did that. But the question is, do you understand that you've already done that? There's no way that you should be in your career 8 years, 10 years, and you still feeling like I gotta keep on just compromising on things. No, you don't. But the question is, do you believe that? Do you believe, right? I put in the work. I have to already shrink myself way too many times before I'm not doing it no more. Do you understand that? Because there was a season to where I just gotta be able to just accept this because I'm just trying to get the experience. But friend, not only do you have the experience, love, you have receipts. You have successes. You have a path that shows everywhere you go, you add value. You have a history of every position that you take. You kill it. So why you gotta feel like you gotta keep starting over? Why is that you feel like I just haven't got enough? Like, where does that come from? Right? Again, but it goes back to you not being able to understand what time you're in. You are in a time where it's now time to ride off of those successes. It's time to reap from those successes. It's time to leverage those successes in your skills. And so if you have not even come to that mindset to where this is not new to me, you may be like, okay, I'm trying to find a new job, but this ain't new to me. You're not new to the game. So stop acting like a beginner. You're not a beginner. You ain't new. Those results you got ain't new, right? But again, you have to be able to understand this and accept the fact that once you reach a point in your career, it's not about you having to prove. Again, it's time to leverage. Exactly. It's time to leverage those successes. That you should be in a point in your career where you can now lean on those successes. It's not saying that you are done with your successes and your results, but no, it's time to ride off of these. It's time to lead with these. I'm not trying to lead with, oh, can y'all please hire me? I'm not trying to lead with, oh, what are y'all seeing me? No, I'm trying to lead with, this is the history that I've done. And your pay needs to match that. Your environment needs to match that. But that does take a change of mind. And this is why I'm really at the point, and I'm being very selective about the people that I work with, because one thing I cannot force somebody to do is to believe in themselves, right? Because I can give you all the strategies, I can give you all the tips, right? I do have different frameworks that I work with, because I do believe that there could be certain mindsets that they do need a shift, but I can't pull you all the way through. Now I can walk with you, I cannot drag you through. And so I think it's really important to be able to identify where you are right now. If the work that you have put in and the work that you still even now do, does that match what you get back? And being able to understand, what is it costing you? What is it costing you? Money, time. It can even cost you your skills, especially if you are in a space to where those skills are not being those skills are just shrinking. And I say this because if you are in an environment where you are not being paid well and the environment does not feed your growth, you will start shrinking. You'll start slowly shutting down. It's not because you always just it's like this, how can I put it? It's not because of that's what you want. It's just because you have nowhere to even go in your mind. You have nowhere to go in your mind, meaning like you are in an environment where your pay is being stifled, where your expertise is being choked. You have nowhere to go. So when you have nowhere to go, you go down, which means that you start holding back. You start feeling like, I don't want to say anything. You start feeling the need to shut down. You start feeling the need of, I would love to give more, but I don't have any more to give. And you can react that way because you are not being fed in the way that you should be. And what happens is that expertise, that excitement, that desire to have a real impact is shrinking away. And so what's happening is you're not trying to set yourself up for that next opportunity, even though you could say, well, I'm looking. Okay. But you are not setting yourself up for that next opportunity in order to thrive. But you are setting yourself up to be comfortable in shrinking yourself. When you know that you could outwork anybody on your team. When you know that I got more experience than my boss got, but now you have decided to just shrink yourself because, right, there's a fight on the inside. I want more. I know that I need more, but I've gotten comfortable with accepting less. And that is what it is costing you. And when I talk to people and they tell me, I know that I am being underpaid by $30,000, $15,000. I'm being underpaid. I had one call out the other day, right? She was at 135 and she said, I know that I should be at 210. I said, baby, I told her, I said, every month you decide to not do anything, right? That is costing you that $85,000 that you know that you should be being paid. That is costing you something. That is holding you back from the things that you want in life. That is holding you back from the lifestyle that you want to give your children. That is holding you back from that. That sometimes I was talking to another client and she was telling me how her and her husband, they have been desiring a baby for the last 2 years. She said, Alicia, she said, I just cannot afford it. I say, this is what it's costing you. And so it's not just about, oh, pay me my worth. It's about give me the life that I know that I want. So every time you ask for a raise and they say no, it's not just about the money. It's not just about that. It's about them holding you back from the life that you want. And if you keep thinking that it's just about the money, it's easier to find excuses as to why you should not be getting prepared for that next step. And I have people that I talk with, and I'm trying to get them to see, like, this is what it's costing you. And when you remove yourself from that mindset, and y'all, a lot of times what it is a scarcity mindset. It is a mindset of lack. And this is really important because we've been taught to live in survival mode. So when we think about having more, or when we think about even wanting more, it scares us, right? Because it's a fear, because there is just as there a fear of failure, there's a fear of success. That fear of success tells you, will I be able to sustain the success I want? That fear of success will say, if I reach this level of success, am I able to be paid this amount? How is this going to change me? So having a fear of failure and a fear of success is definitely real, but it's all based in fear. And because we, especially us, we have been taught to live in a mindset of survival. What is it that I need to do to just get by? Y'all have so many stories. I had a client, right? Overall, we had like maybe 6 Zoom calls. 3, she says, Alicia, she said, I almost did not work. She was saying that when she first saw me, she said, I knew that needed your help. I'm not gonna lie, when you work with me, that it is an investment. Now I have 2 different ways. You could work with me in my group, which you can still get the same results. But if you want that hands-on support from me, if you want that time with just me, it is an investment. And I'm not afraid to say that, because I understand the results that I bring forth in lives. And I don't mind being able to charge what I charge. She said, Alicia, I almost did not sign up with you. And she said, it wasn't that I did not have the funds. She said, I was even afraid to even invest that amount in myself. And I say this because of this. You will literally tell yourself what you deserve. And I told her, I said, I am not a cell phone bill, meaning like, oh, I use this service, and now that I use this service, then no, I am an investment, right? That same client left me after her first after her first month with me, land a position making $50,000 more. Now I say, girl, if anything, I should be charging way more. But she was able to see, man, I made an investment in myself. But when you're in the mode of survival, y'all, you're just thinking about, what do I need to do to survive? So whenever opportunities come to grow and to exceed, I'm not thinking about that. I'm thinking about how much it costs. And I've been in business 3.5 years. I used to be a little afraid, right? I started out charging low. I won't even tell y'all, I'm almost child, okay? I started seeing the transformation in my clients' lives. I'm like, no, I'm not. Because I understand my value. I understand I'm changing lives. I understand that. And I'm not afraid to own that anymore. People would pay $3,500 to go to Disneyland to ride a ride. No, but they will not invest in something that's going to change the course of their life. They won't invest in something that will give them back time with their family, that would allow them to make more money and to be happy and to thrive. So no, I'm not shrinking. If I'm not in your budget, that's okay. No hard feelings whatsoever. Right now, I do understand that everybody is not in the place always to invest. So there are different ways to work with me. Like I said, you can work with me in the group and get just as much help. I also do payment plans. So there's options. But if you are in a mindset of lack, the options don't matter. You've already told yourself. And I'm not using this as a pitch, right? At the end of the day, I've got to decide if we are a good fit, just like the other side do too, right? So this is not in a way to just sell my service. I want to be able to show you the mindset. Any kind of investment that is going to make you successful, don't be afraid of that. Do not be afraid of something that is going to help you. And I want to use this example because it's the same way in your career. If there is a certain amount of pay that you want, if you have not been able yet to get the pay, it's either 2 things. You don't understand your value or they don't, or it could be both. So with myself, anytime I have somebody say, Alicia, I really want to work with you, but that's cool. I understand that. Because it could be two things. You may not have it, which that is very rarely the reason. Or it could be that maybe you just don't see the value that I bring. But guess what? That doesn't take anything from me, because what they value can determine what they see as valuable in you. And that's a whole live stream, which is why it's important to get clear on your value so you know how to express that value, right? But I want to bring back to, it's not only about, things that you have to do. Is like, what do I need to do to change the course of my life? Being able to be confident in that, and being able to own that, and being able to understand and realize that you doing the same thing, it's going to get you the same results. Okay, well, I'll say this because it's easy to understand. I'm afraid if I fail, but a lot of people are afraid if they succeed. They don't really know what success is going to feel like, or how much that success is going to change them, right? And so it will cause them to shrink. It'll cause them to play small. It'll cause them to hold themselves back from being able to go to that next level, because they're like, if I reach this success, can I sustain it? And the fear of not being able to sustain that success, for some people, it is paralyzing, right? Because they feel like, if I can't sustain a success, what is that going to make me look like? And that's why I said it's so important to move away from feeling like you got to prove yourself. You have to, because if not, it leads to so many different other things. And so now every career move you make is about, I just got to do what looks good. And sometimes what looks good is going in the opposite way of what you want. And that's one thing I do with my clients, is I teach them even how to really get clear on what is their version of success, because it's so important to know what your version of success is. So whenever you reach the success, okay, this is it. And once you reach it, you'll be able to identify if the bar was too low, because you may reach that level of success and you're like, wait a minute, this is not really all that I wanted. Good. There's nothing wrong with that. What probably happened is you had this version of success, but as you started to move towards that version, you started to grow. So once you reached that, it didn't really fit who you are now. And that's a good thing. It's called growth. So I enjoyed this live stream. Again, if you do want to work with me, there are two ways. My group, The Best You, this group was made for people in leadership roles or those that designed to move in to lead roles. This helps you to get clear on your path. This is a way to know how to have yourself in a place to where you can make more money. And it allows you to understand how to navigate corporate America. And I think it's really important because people don't know how to operate in the space to where they can do it on their terms. Also, if you want to work with me one-to-one, let's talk. I do offer custom plans for the clients that I do work with, because everybody has their own goals and needs. So let's talk and let's see how I am able to support you. So if you go in my page, it says, I help you to escape from the rat race. We have been trained that in order to be paid well, we got to go through stuff. We have been trained, I got to choose to be paid, or I have to choose to have peace. You can be paid and peaceful, right? But this is what people feel like they have to choose. They have to choose that if they do want to be able to enjoy what it is that they do, then that means that they're not going to be paid well. Who told you that lie? And I really want to be able to help people get out of this rat race, because we were not designed to live like this. We were not designed to have to chase success so hard. We were not designed to where we feel almost suffocated. That was not what we were designed for whatsoever. And this is the reason why it's hard to feel settled, because you feel like I always have to be doing this. And it's no, it all boils down to you being able to get clear on what you want, own what you want, and put a plan in place that is going to allow you to build a career that can let you live the life that you want, right? You should be able to work well, earn well, and live well. Those should be able to coexist. You should not have to choose. And if you feel like you have to choose, it's because you have been taught that you have to choose, or you have told yourself that you have to choose, and you don't have to choose. But you do have to be able to get into a place to where you can be able to see those gaps, be able to see those blind spots, and be able to identify what is really holding you back. Because 95% of the clients that I work with, it has nothing to do with their experience. The expertise is there. The receipts is there. Sometimes they don't know how to express the value, like their the actual value that they bring. And this is not for people just starting out. You'd be surprised. I work with directors that struggle with being able to articulate their value. I struggle with VPs that are insecure, that they are afraid to lead a team, that they are afraid to own their expertise. VPs. So this has nothing to do with your experience. This is about how you have taught yourself to show up. Because we've all seen people who didn't have a lick of expertise, nothing. Because you guys know I'm always talking about John. John is the one that don't know nothing, can't halfway do his job. You got to do his job for him. But John always thriving. So nothing to do, okay, with no degree. This is nothing. Like, stop saying that you need this. You don't need no more degrees. You don't need it. Ain't nothing wrong with a degree. But I don't want you spending no more time on something that you think that is going to validate you. No, you have enough. Let's learn how to position and everything that you already have. You have enough. Let's learn how to make a strategic plan with what you have. Let's learn to teach you how to fully show up in that. Again, there is nothing wrong with school, but can't let that stuff, because I see all the time, like clients have degrees hanging on the wall, but still have to show up at work and they feel insecure. Because a lot of times, the more degrees you get, the more insecure you are, because now they see all of this. So now I feel so now you feel like you have to just live up. And it's not about you trying to prove, just be. Okay, so I enjoyed talking with you guys. I will chat with you later. Bye.